in the world after the pandemic have conducted the census successfully and managed to get the data. So what does it mean? The government doesn't know how many people to plan for, what the state of human resources are, what the demography. So how can we expect effective policy making for this government? One wonders if you are avoiding to conduct census because of the pressure from within your dependable allies for a caste-based census. Sir, budget lets down the poor, fails to address the growing economic equality. Sir, usually GDP, sir, when Manmohan Singh, the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, took over, sir, the GDP in 2004 was 54.8 lakh crores rupees. Sir, GDP usually doubles every 10 years. When Manmohan Singh left at 2014, and the great Prime Minister Modi took in 2014, it was 105.27 lakh crores. Literally doubled. Sir, that means after 10 years, let's do the maths. You should have doubled. You should have been more than 200 crores, sir. A GDP, 200 lakh crores. But your governance has brought in for 2023-24, it is only 173.82 lakh crores, sir. This shows that you are not performing as you claim to. Budgets are aimed to stimulate growth. The economic survey says India's real GDP grew by 8.2% for the year, financial year 24, marking a growth of over 7% for the third consecutive year. It forecasts that in a modest 6.5 to 7%. Sir, but what is growth? It is just the increase of a size of economy, or is an equitable distribution of wealth from the growth? Who's benefiting from the growth? Sir, is the 3.44 crore people living in extremely poverty in country. After all, they are the ones most affected by macroeconomics indicators like inflation in food prices. While headlines and core inflation have eased to 5.1% and 3.1% respectively, the consumer food price index remains high at 9.4% in June 2024. Economic inequality has widened significantly over the past under the BJP's crony capitalism government. The wealth of Indian billionaires has increased, that means Modi's friends, has increased by 35% in 2020 alone, while millions were pushed into poverty due to the pandemic. Reports indicates that 10% of the population holds 77% of the national wealth, highlighting a severe disparity in income distribution. There is another outstanding statistics with this as well. By 22-23, the top 10% of the country's population has 22.6% of all income and owned 40% of all the wealth in the country. Sir, this is worse than the colonial era. This is worse than the British Raj. This is how the BJP is taking our country. Sir, youth and employment data. Sir, this is the elephant in the room. Despite promises to create 2 crore jobs annually, the reality has been starkly different. The unemployment rate rose by 41 year high for 6.1 in 2018 to 17.8. It peaked, sir. This was much before the pandemic. So we can't blame the global situation. Today the situation is worse. One side, the Ministry of Labour and Employment is saying that as per the latest available periodic labour force survey, reports that estimate unemployment rate on usual status of person of age 15 years and above was 4.2 in 2021, 4.1 in 22, and 3.2 in 23, respectively. Sir, but the data from the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, an independent think tank, says the unemployment rate was 8% in 2020-21, 5.9% in 21-22, and 7.3% in 2022-23. This belief is far more believable on the ground reality. According to the CMI data, the unemployment rate in India stood at 9.2% in June 24, a sharp increase from 7% in May 24. CMI Consumer Pyramid Household shows that the female unemployment reached 18.5%, exceeding the national average in June 24. This up from 15.1% the same period last year. At the same time, male unemployment stood at 7.8, slightly higher than 7.7 in June 2023. Sir, why the labor participation rate rose to 41.4% in June 2024 from 40% in May and up from 39% in June. The rural unemployment rate rose to 9.3 in June from 6.3 in May. The urban unemployment rate climbed from 8.6 to 8.9. The contrast sharply with figures of 2014, where the unemployment rate was 5.44 during the UPA regime. So the finance ministers have highlighted the BJP's 9 crucial priorities for transforming India into a developed country by 2047. The 9 priorities for generating ample opportunities for India is included: productivity and resilience in agriculture, employment and skilling, inclusive human resources development, social justice, urban development, energy security, infrastructure, innovation, research development, and next generation reforms. Sir, let us take one by one. Sir, productivity and resilience in agriculture. An interministerial committee in April 2016 was set up in 2016 to lay out a roadmap to double farmers' income by 2022, as promised by the Prime Minister. They used 2012-2013 National Sample Survey Office data to estimate. The national average annual income of Indian farmers was 96,000 in 2015-16. Based on this, the committee set the targeted double income at 1,92,694 at 2015-16 concentrate to 2,71,000 at the current price. To achieve those levels, farm income would have to grow annually by 10.4% over the next 7 years, the committee calculated. While the data of 22-23 is not available, according to the last situational survey data released by 2024, the average annual income of the farming household increased from 96,703 in 2015-16 to 1,22,616 in 2018.